again, the Watermaker project is on hold until we can get that fixed.
Ah, this is what I've been waiting for.
Got back from Hopetown, and as we walked onto the boat, we noticed that this thing that we have been concerned about for a long time has finally happened. This bar that actually holds in place a big part of our arch has been slowly sliding out, and somehow in the last couple of days it's almost completely out. It's barely holding this into place. So we're going to pop it out. We're going to try to replace it with a nut and a bolt. So while I lifted, Spandana shoved in the new bolt.
Oh!
We found a replacement for the nut that we lost overboard. Now we need to get rid of this weird key thing here and tighten up that nut, and the arch should now be more solid.
That was weirdly stressful. And really glad that it's January 1st and we forgot, again, poor planners, that the whole town would be shut down, so we just came right back to the boat, and we happened to be tying the dinghy back up and realized that this guy was basically out and we wouldn't have noticed. And I think we really would have fallen out in bad weather, which is about the last time that we need things falling down. Big shout out to the MVPs for today and many more times through many of our projects, which is these marine boat supply boxes. We have, I think, every single one of them for bolts, for screws, for nuts and bolt washers and everything, and they've been able to basically get us through these little projects in no problem. So if you don't have them on your boat already, I would highly recommend it. Again, not sponsored, but I would highly recommend it. Hi, now for dinner.
So now for the project that we actually wanted to work on today, which is finishing our Watermaker. So everything's in, everything is set up, but when we run it, we see that it's leaking from a lot of different places. They came from the factory, basically, all screwed together without any plumber's tape. And we thought that would be okay, but as we're running it, we see that water's coming out. So we're going to take everything apart, plumber's tape it back together, and put it back in. And if it's not leaking, then we should be very close to the end. We spent so many days working on this thing, and we got to I think, literally the final step, which is turn on the high pressure pump and slowly increase the PSI. And as we did that, we heard what sounded like a crack. We weren't sure. We didn't see anything. We kept going, and then there was another crack. And so we stopped everything, and we started looking, and we saw that the membrane, which is the central part of the system, is the thing that the seawater goes through and filters out the salt and everything else and gives you fresh water. The casing for it, which I'm not sure what it's made out of, but it's cracked on both sides. So those two cracks we heard were basically as we put pressure into that membrane, somehow the case just broke in two big circles on both ends. And yeah, as we're watching it, we can see that water slowly leaks out of those. So we are out of luck, unfortunately. It looks like it's not the membrane itself, it's the casing that Seawater Pro puts together. I'm not sure if we have something wrong on our side or something's wrong with the casing itself, but unfortunately we are very far away from them right now and the ability to get a replacement for it. We're going to take some pictures, we'll call them up and see what they can do, but again, the Watermaker project is on hold until we can get that fixed.
It's been a few days, and we just walked away from the Watermaker when it broke, which was the most terrible cracking noise you will ever hear, and then the little drips of water that you know where it's ready to explode. And we were only at 200 psi, so imagine that had happened at 800 psi. I think there'd be chips of plastic across our deck, and maybe like on us or something. I don't know, something crazy. But after a few days of walking away from it, actually we did send an email to Seawater Pro and we got a response. And he was really nice about it. He basically said The case is absolutely covered. If something had happened to the membrane, it wouldn't have been covered, but the case is covered, and that we could come pick it up, or he can ship it to us in the US, which created another issue. How do we get that part to us? We can take the boat and go back. It's not that bad. About 24 hours we could be back at Lake Worth, but we'd have to do COVID testing here, COVID clearance there. We'd have weather windows to look up to. A lot of little logistics we'd have to do. Or we do have some friends coming over that we know in about a few weeks, and if we were willing to wait, maybe they could pick it up for us. Ah, this is what I've been waiting for. Fluffy. This is good yeast. Ooh, there goes the bubbles. All right, and then we do a second proofing. Second proof. And the happy ending to that story is that our friends Jade and Brett Evans from Expedition Evans, their link to their channel is below. They're awesome human beings, and they've agreed to pick up the casing for us. They've actually just picked it up. They sent us a picture of it, and they are gonna come to the Bahamas eventually, and we're gonna meet up with them, offer them lots of things and drinks and food and everything, and then we'll finish the Watermaker project.
So as we are up downstairs making bread, this is what's going on outside. Huge squall just came through. Everybody got shifted about 60 degrees north, and there is rain pouring down.
No, needs to go a little bit more.
Okie doke. Let it bake, baby, let it bake.
I don't know.
You buttered the top, right?
You butter the top after. Yeah. So it should already be brown, but I don't want it to overbake. It's been at least 25 minutes. All right, I'll give it 5 more minutes.
Okay, let's see.
Let's see.
That looks great.
Oh god. Shut it off. And then I need 2 hands.
Flip the bread. Flip the bread. Flip the bread. Flip the bread.
This feels easier.
Oh my. Oh.
I burnt myself. Ah. And that is shokupan. It's a Japanese style of bread that has a high water content, and we have a very wide bread pan. If it was a shorter one, it would rise really high, but I like it. We made bread finally on turtle. It smells amazing! One of the projects that's been kind of rolling around in my head for the last few days has been something actually that I've been wanting to do since we bought the boat, but I was never brave enough to make additions to Turtle. It was always like, oh, I don't want to mess it up. But now I'm like, we put enough holes in you, let's put another one. This is not a hole, but it's our cabinet that holds all of our tools. It's actually a hanging closet that we use, and it has no shelves. And so what I want to do is actually build in shelves so that we can organize our tools way better. We've got some leftover plywood, marine plywood from a previous project, and I've measured it out, and I think it'll work with a little bit of fidgeting. We don't have enough to build 2 shelves, but we have enough to build 1, so it's like a half the project done, but it's a nice short project to do in the morning before we go jump in the water. The problem with the shelf is that it's a weird angle, so you've got a short side and a long side, and then the leftover long side. So I've measured this, and the longer side, and we'll be a little half inch short because the piece is not wide enough, but And then this is actually measuring out pretty well. So now we just have to make this cut and make this cut. And I know that there's a notch somewhere here, but we'll test that out once we try it in the shelf. All right, first cut done. I'm gonna go dry fit it and see if we need to do more cuts. Oh my God. I mean, I know I'm the one who cut it, but I can't believe it actually fits. And there's actually a little piece here. We were half an inch short on this way, but there's a little piece of wood here that was jutting out, and guess how wide that is? Yep, so perfect fit. And so I'd like a shelf here and I'd like a shelf here, but we don't have enough plywood for that. But for now, we have a nice shelf here. Oh, so happy. All right, now that the small pieces are good, I mean the big piece is good, we are going to cut the small supporting pieces. And for that, the little jigsaw with very little space. Okay. And that is our completed shelf. If we go underneath, I put a few supports right there and in the back and over there, just so that this wouldn't fall. I mean, with just the angle of it, I don't think the shelf will fall, but now those are screwed in. And when we get extra wood, we can put an extra shelf here, but for now we can continue to pile here. But I think I called it a success.
How's that snorkel, Spandana?
Oh, very, very, very good snorkel. I gotta turn the water on. We have not heated up that water in 3 days, and the sun went away. But very, very good snorkel. And it's funny, that's what I love about being underwater, is above the water, all you see are just a few rocks, right? And you're like, oh, they're just kind of breakers for everything. But then you pop down under and it's like hundreds of fish. The big, big parrotfish that we keep seeing here, and the big blue fishies that I keep seeing here. And it's just such an amazing surprise every time, and I love it. So I love the Bahamas. Now I'm cold. Let's go inside.
Whew. Okay, so although it's pretty cold still, I hit my foot on something. That was painful. Okay, so we are coming back from the snorkel. We're gonna make some steak, some rice, and some peas with some Japanese mayo and things like that, and settle that for the evening. Get ready for the blow that's coming in tomorrow, and hopefully we're anchored well for it. So let's make some lunch. And with that, lunch is served.
I am finishing up. I'm making some grilled cheese sandwiches with this ridiculous bread. I'm such a tasty bread! Eat me! We are. Maybe a little too fast. We're almost done with this loaf and it's been like a week. We need to slow down. Okay, it's been like 4 days. we eat. It's really, really good and it's really fresh. But I think we will slow down after this. But it is Dave's birthday weekend and we are starting it off proper with a nice, juicy grilled cheese sandwich for breakfast and whatever else he wants. It's been a few days since we picked up the camera. It was Dave's birthday yesterday, so we celebrated the weekend with a nice, quiet time on the boat. And today we are packing her all up and getting her ready for an ocean sail. So I don't think we've done an 18-hour sail in like 2 months. So this should be reinvigorating. We are leaving the Abacos. The Abacos was a wonderful, wonderful first home for us. And now we are moving on to the Berry Islands. And that involves an 18-hour, maybe a little bit more, sail over to Great Harbor Key in the Berries. And hopefully in front of another blow that's about to come. So we're taking a very tiny window that's available and shooting out to the Berries.
If I wrote you a song, if I got every word perfectly weighted on a thin piece of paper, would it make any difference? Would it change for the better if I wrote you a poem, if I posted a letter?
Wow, it's another big sail for the books. We got 18 hours in here in the Bahamas going from Abacos to Bimini. The wind is supposed to pick up today, so we decided to head out yesterday so we could make it in before it really hit. As we were going, it was nighttime because it was an overnight sail, but on both sides of us and behind us there was these huge cloud banks, and we just kept thinking, okay, we're just gonna end up inside of them. Dark clouds, so definitely rain. And we on the forecast there's also rain all around us, but somehow we found this yellow brick road that took us all the way from the Abacos to the Bimini. We could see clouds on every side of us. We could see thunder and we could see lightning off in a distance. We didn't hear any thunder, so it was pretty far off, but there was lightning everywhere and it was a little scary because we're like not really ready to sail into a big lightning storm in the middle of the night. Somehow we didn't. We actually got all the way to Bimini. It's clear above us right now, even though we can still see lightning off in the distance. We are anchored in, tucked in close for the wind that's going to come today. It should be 25 knots sustained, probably gusting higher than that. So we tucked in with a bunch of other boats that are here, and we are both exhausted. It is 5 a.m. and we're going to get some sleep.